Hi there, it's Linnea. Today I'm going to show you how to use some of the new summer release products from LDRS Creative to make the easiest and simplest scene card that I think I've ever made in my whole life. So I'm going to be using a couple of the new stamp sets as well as the new paper pad. I'm using A Day in the Park as well as the Float Your Boat, and I'm just going to be using a single image from each stamp set. I'm going to be using the little girl in the boat from Float Your Boat, and then I'm going to be using the little girl walking the dog from A Day in the Park. I'm going to stamp on some marker-friendly cardstock, and I will stamp each of these images with LDRS Creative Hybrid ink, the Raven Hybrid ink. I like to use this ink for any kind of coloring because it is waterproof as well as alcohol marker proof, so pretty much whatever you're doing, I've used it for colored pencils too, so any medium that you're coloring with, this ink is going to be good for that. Once I stamp my images, I do like to heat set my ink just to make sure that it's not going to smudge or smear, but I do that with any ink that I'm stamping and then coloring with. So let's dive right into the coloring. I've sped this up so that you can see, I think I left in the majority of the coloring, but I did speed it up just in case. I know a lot of people don't like to watch the coloring, but some people do. So I left it in for those of you who want to see it, and I sped it up for those of you who have your own method and your own blends for coloring. I'm just using alcohol markers here. Most of the colors I'm using 2 markers to shade and blend with. Really easy blending and shading today. As usual, I just like to have a little bit of a shadow and then blend that out with a lighter color. I kept this in here because I thought that it was so cute. I'm using a alcohol marker friendly pen and just adding some polka dots to the little girl's dress because I thought that would be so cute. You could definitely do that to the bathing suit on the other little girl too, or stripes or squiggly lines or anything really. I just like to take clothing and modify it a little bit so that it looks a little bit different. Once all my images were colored, I used the coordinating Float Your Boat and A Day in the Park dies to cut out each of those images. Now this is the Seaside paper pack. This is the new paper for the summer release. So many fun ocean colors and patterns in this paper pack. But what I was really drawn to was this single sheet of paper that has a whole scene ready to go. You have your cloudy sky, your sandy beach, and then there's even some little water and everything in there ready to go, made for a perfect little scene. So my idea was to take the little girl in the boat from Float Your Boat, stick her down at the bottom, and then have the little girl walking her dog on the beach. I thought that was such a cute little scene. So in order to keep as much of the pattern paper showing as I could and still make a, like a reasonable sized card, I made a 5x5 card. And I trimmed my pattern paper down to 5 1/4 by 5, or 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, so that it would fit on a 5x5 card with just a little bit of a border. I'm going to use my Raven Hybrid ink once again to stamp a sentiment, and this sentiment is from the Float Your Boat stamp set. I just thought that this sentiment would be so perfect because I have a little character on the beach and one in the water. So the one that says sand or sea, you're the one for me. I thought that was super cute and super fitting for this card. I'm going to add some foam behind each of the little girls and add them to my scene, and that completes the card. Like I said, the easiest, simplest scene card I think I have ever made. The pattern paper totally does all the work for me. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this card, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!